Good evening. He admits to the FBI that he was trying to get away from police after robbing an Albuquerque bank yesterday.
While he was fleeing, Jeremiah Jackson hit a car stopped at a red light, killing 2 women. A federal criminal complaint says Jeremiah Jackson told agents he went into the New Mexico Bank and Trust yesterday morning, demanded money from 2 tellers, then took off in a minivan. The report says a witness took down the license plate number, and that's how police soon spotted Jackson. APD says an officer chased Jackson across town on I-40 until he got off at Coors. Jackson then tried to make a right-hand turn on Quail, lost control of his minivan, and crashed into a white Volkswagen. Co-workers Kimberly Aragon Nunez and Janice Flores were in that car. They probably never knew what hit them. Jeremiah Jackson has been in and out of jail for the past 10 years on numerous crimes. He was just released from prison 6 weeks ago.
The 2 women were picking up lunch for their co-workers when they were killed. The people who knew them and loved them are devastated. Here's News 13's Maria Medina.
Well, Dick, both women worked for WIC in Albuquerque, a program to help low-income mothers and their children stay healthy. And that's how friends and family describe the 2 women, 2 people who always wanted to help others.
It's just sad that someone like that is taken away from not only my family, but from, the community in the city of Albuquerque.
Kimberly Aragon Nunez lived her life helping others.
She worked with at-risk mothers.
While working for Albuquerque's WIC program, she was studying to become a social worker.
And she was working on her master's degree in social work.
And when she wasn't doing that, her older brother Lucas Aragon says her time was spent with her 3 children.
She was an amazing mother. She just, loved her children so much, and she, I think she ran herself just ragged, just running them around to football practice and gymnastics.
Aragon Nunez was behind the wheel at a red light on Coors and Quail with her co-worker Janice Flores when police say Jeremiah Jackson slammed into them. The women were picking lunch up for their co-workers. Today, they decided to close the office for a couple of days, and flags were at half staff.
It's just tragic that something like that has to happen to someone like this.
Aragon says it's his baby sister's smile he'll miss the most.
She was so much fun, and we would just always laugh and have a great time, and anyone who knows her knows that.
Now the WIC offices are planning to open tomorrow. Friends and family of Flores didn't want to go on camera, but they describe her as loving and giving. Jeremiah Jackson faces federal murder charges for their deaths. Dick?
All right, Maria, memorial funds for both victims have been set up at Wells Fargo under Kimberly Aragon Nunez Benefit Memorial Fund and Janice Flores Benefit Memorial Fund. Albuquerque police today called a news conference to once again defend the officer's decision to chase Jackson.
They put the blame for the deadly crash on Jackson and on the judicial system. News 13's Michael Herzenberg is live in the Newsplex with the details.
Jessica, the officer involved in this chase is distraught, but the police chief wants to be perfectly clear. She is not to blame. Jeremiah Jackson is. The chief says the officer had to make a quick decision. Here's the timeline. At 10:57, police say Jackson robbed the bank at Candelaria in Louisiana. At 11:04, the officer spotted him near Carlisle and Comanche and gave chase with lights and sirens. At 11:07, they got on I-40 westbound at Carlisle. The officer called for air support, and then at 11:09, the suspect exited I-40 at Coors. The officer slowed down and pretty much lost Jackson. At 11:10, she drove up on the aftermath of the wreck at Coors and Quail. Police say the decision to chase a suspect comes down to weighing the danger of the criminal with the danger of the chase.
We only chase violent felons. In this particular case, Mr. Jackson was that. He was a violent felon. He had robbed a federal institution, that being a bank.
The chief and the city public safety director also blame the judicial system, saying it's broken and judges let people like Jackson continue to violate probation without harsh penalties. Probation and Parole tells News 13 Jackson had a technical violation, not telling his probation officer that he moved. That's why officers did not recommend throwing him back in prison. Back to you.
Okay, Michael, Jackson violated probation several times over the past few years. Tonight on KRQE News 13 at 10, we talked to prosecutors and probation and parole about that.